Good evening, my name is Frederick Williams, and here is my presentation and demonstration of JUnit testing functionality for week 12. So for my my class's test demo, we have the methods of add positive, which is adding two positive integers that are over 0 with a boolean and returning the sum. Also, we'll throw out a legal exception that says both parameters must be positive. Here we have a method of getting a random integer, initializing it with the method, and then returning the integer with returning a method with a integer of 10 and plus 1. For my personal one, I added a negative and positive number, same with the above method. Otherwise, it's just the opposite of A has to be less than 0 and B has to be greater than 0, and returning the sum, and something is not right. Random number squared is calling the random number that is generated in the above method of getInt, and then it is returned with the square. So for here, we have the test demo JUnit test. Here we have the two ints being called an int of expected and a boolean exception. So when it's not the exception, we assert that the positive numbers is equal to the expected result, else it is thrown that the instance of the legal exception class is called. Here we have the assert number squared with a mock method that is using the test demo, returning 5 when it is randomly generated. And we have an integer of 5 squared, calling the mock demo class to retrieve the random number that is squared. And since we know that it's 5, we expect the result of 25. Here we have arguments showing that the two integers of 2, 4, and 6 are going to be false. And we're going to see how this runs. Passes. So now we're going to show that now the argument is going to be true. And see what happens with this. It says selecting a code raise a throwable. So obviously it knows that something is amiss here. Our expected is supposed to be true when it's supposed to be false, or rather false is supposed to be true. But asserted by this method that it overrides the throw byte, so that's why it couldn't find a explanation. So we know that something is amiss here. So for here, I tested that the B is going to be a negative number, and see how that functionality works. Yep. So for this, the opposite has been true, and that it passes and tests the parameters of the result. Okay. Here we have the A is now negative and showing that it is false. And that shows that it is correct. And lastly, we have the argument of the expected to be true, and when it is not, and also we see that something is amiss here. For this one, we are calling the this is a test without parameters. And we assert that the test demo add positive is adding these two integers to equal to the sum that we expect. So if we run this, or if we just run it, we see that it passes. This is going to test the A test functionality. See that something is wrong, returning that both parameters must be positive. That clears. Test this one. This one clears or fails correctly. And for the last one, we see that test the expected result and see where that lands us. Should also fail. Correct. Lastly, we have the arguments for the positive and negative number results. Assert what the method of numbers are added. We have the results of that. These are added together. This is equals to true. Adding this, going to test to see if it allows the parameter of a negative number as a, as we said earlier, is supposed to be less. Expecting a throwable. But our exception is false, so it does not return a throwable, or it does not know where to find a throwable for that, so we know something is amiss. Next we have the negative of a, or the incorrect expectation for the sum. So you test this. And we see that this is also something wrong. It rates that this is not the right sum, and also the saying that it's true, so we know something is wrong. And lastly, with the negative completing that parameter, positive completing the parameter, expected result, and the saying this is false. It should give us a pass. So yeah, this shows the functionality of the JUnit testing. With this being true, this being false, reversing the false from our, once again, our expected exception of not being false and exerting it. So thanks for your time. That'd be all.